Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the English podcast with Dr. Maqsood Azeemi, which was held on 5 December 2025. We are embarking on a really deep dive today into a profound discussion from Dr. Sahib. And the subject is something that I think affects everyone, which is conceptual clarity in spirituality. He really focuses on how these, seemingly small distortions in the words we use every day can just completely shift our relationship with the divine.
It's so true. It's like a mission in conceptual precision.
Yeah.
Dr. Sahib's entire talk, it really serves as a powerful corrective lens for our understanding. He provides these incredibly specific, detailed clarifications on essential terms, things like khidmat or service, salam, and, most crucially, the core distinction within the kalima itself, la ilaha illallah.
Absolutely. And, right out of the gate, he established the importance of this kind of intellectual honesty. He started with the very language of explanation itself. He tackled that common confusion between Tashreeh and Sharah, karahihin.
That's right. And it's a brilliant place to start, karahihin, because so many people use them interchangeably. They just mean explanation.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Sahib said that while, yes, they're related, they signify very different points in the process of gaining understanding. He clarified that functionally, the goal is the same, but one is the action and the other is the result.
Okay, so let me see if I have this right. Tashreeh is the verb, the active process, and Sharah is the noun, the final picture.
Precisely. You've got it. Tashreeh is the act of elaboration. It's the process of breaking down a complex idea, analyzing its parts, detailing all its connections. Sharah is that clear, final, sort of distilled understanding that emerges, but only after the process of Tashreeh is totally complete.
I found the example he used to explain this was just, it was perfect because it touches on the ultimate goal of all spiritual inquiry.
It really does. Dr. Sahib referenced the saying of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, Man arafa nafsahu fakad arafa rabbahu. Who recognizes his self, recognizes his Lord. So when you, the listener, start to unpack that, when you ask, okay, what is myself? That whole detailed exploration, that is Tashreeh.
Right, so you're digging into your ego, your ana, your capabilities, your limits, your true identity. That entire internal analytical process is the Tashreeh.
You are actively elaborating on the concept of self. And then, once you've filtered through all those layers, the societal roles, the material things, the ego, the pure crystalline understanding of what that self truly is, that's the Sharah.
And that resulting realization is how you connect to the Creator.
Exactly. And without a thorough Tashreeh, your Sharah is going to be cloudy. It's going to be incomplete. And this intellectual rigor is so necessary because, as Dr. Sahib showed, we've applied this kind of inaccurate Sharah to almost every spiritual concept.
Which is a perfect transition. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's talk about khidmat, or service. We often think of service to Allah as, humans physically doing rituals or building things. But Dr. Sahib just completely redefined the term based on the divine role.
He did. He fundamentally shifted the perspective. Dr. Sahib explained that Allah's service, his khidmat, isn't about physical attendance by him. It's the provision of all the means and resources needed for the systematic, sustainable growth of all of creation.
So it's the attribute of rububiyat, sustenance and nurturing.
Yes, that's the word for it, rububiyat. The mountains, the oceans, the weather, the life cycle, all of that is the manifestation of divine khidmat. The system is already perfectly set up for us.
Wow. Okay, so if the system is already perfectly in place, providing for us, this leads directly to his critique of the human condition, doesn't it? It's actually astonishing. He stated that humans have just completely messed up the system, that we've played games with the divine word and set up our own flawed structures against God's.
That is the core insight. And our failure, he says, it stems from forgetting who we really are within that system. And this is where he relayed that incredibly powerful anecdote from his murshid, Khawaja Shamsuddin Azeemi. It was shared at the annual Urs of Kalandar Baba Aliyah. Khawaja Sahib stressed that people have to rise above adamiyat, the mere biological state of being human, to become insane, a true developed human.
And this is where the commentary becomes just profoundly humbling, Apkarahin.
It really does. Khawaja Sahib went further. He lamented that so many people, they don't act like developed humans. They act like dogs, cats, horses, asses, just focused on base, primal urges. And then, and this is the part that just hits you, he apologized. He apologized for even that comparison, concluding that in comparison to the divine system, they are merely flies and mosquitoes.
Flies and mosquitoes, that really puts our supposed importance into a painful but probably very accurate perspective. If we're just flies, how can we possibly think we can redesign or distort this system of rububiyat?
You can't. And the consequence of forgetting this, Dr. Sayyib explained, is the rise of ananiyat, egotism, self-focus. This inflated ego, it prevents us from doing that necessary tashreeh in the first place. We can't understand ourselves or Allah's system or His attributes because we're looking at everything through this distorted lens of our own importance.
We prioritize our individual gain over the whole system.
Over the maintenance of the collective system, yes.
That focus on individual gain, it seems to transition perfectly into Dr. Sahib's discussion on possessions and wealth. That's often the ultimate expression of ananiyat, isn't it?
It's the critical link. And Dr. Sahib delivered a truly serious warning about wealth that stems directly from this egotism. He detailed the strict Quranic prohibition against hoarding it, mal-jama, and, constantly counting it. The focus isn't on earning wealth. It's on accumulating it just for the sake of accumulation.
And the warning that's attached to this act of hoarding is one of the most, astonishingly specific punishments that you find detailed in the Quran.
It is a terrifying description. Dr. Sahib quoted the verse. It says that this hoarded wealth will be heated in the fire of hell nari jahannam and used to literally brand the person's forehead, their ribs, and their back. And he explained that this branding, it's like marking livestock. It signifies a permanent, painful mark that you have acted fundamentally against the divine system of flow and rububiyat.
So if the divine system requires flow and provision khidmat, then hoarding just stops that flow cold. The core rule then, it isn't about poverty, but it's about balance.
Balance is absolutely key. Avoiding israf, which is waste or extravagance, and also avoiding bukhul, which is using less than you need or refusing to spend where you should. Wealth is a means. It's a tool for self-development and for supporting the system. It's not the objective of life itself. The moment it becomes the objective, it becomes a literal brand on our existence.
Okay, but this raises a really complex question for the learner. If hoarding is so strictly forbidden, how do we understand the story of Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, who famously stored grain for 7 years? Wouldn't a skeptic just argue that this was, by definition, an act of massive hoarding?
And that is the exact point Dr. Sahib clarified, and it's just a brilliant distinction. He emphasized that what Yusuf, A.S., did was not personal hoarding. Not at all. It was an act of prophetic knowledge, Ilmi Nubuwat, to help an entire nation survive a predicted famine. It was conservation for the collective good, derived from divine insight, not personal greed.
That distinction is so critical, personal accumulation versus national conservation for the system's survival. But the science behind how they stored that grain, I have to say, that part was truly disruptive to my thinking.
It's astonishing, isn't it? It connects spirituality with this highly advanced practical science. Dr. Sahib elaborated on the 2 key techniques. The first was actually quite simple. The grain was stored with the husk, the chaff, because the husk naturally protects the contents inside.
Okay, that makes sense. But the second point about the specialized storehouses, the ones often said to be pyramid-shaped, that goes deep into physics.
It really does. Dr. Sahib explained that these structures weren't just built for height. They were built specifically because the pyramid shape interacts perfectly with the Earth's natural magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic waves, which run generally south to north and back, they actually spiral as they pass through the precise angles of the pyramid structure.
And this spiraling motion has a real measurable effect on the energy of what's inside.
A huge effect. The spiraling motion acts as an energy replenisher. It prevents the decay of the stored items by actively stabilizing their energetic structure. Dr. Sahib cited those classic examples from esoteric science. Used shaving blades that regain their sharpness, or milk that turns into beneficial yogurt instead of just spoiling. This would ensure the grain retained its potency and freshness for all 7 years of the famine. It was a scientific triumph.
That is genuinely mind-blowing. It shows that these divine systems are supported by a deep understanding of natural law, not just blind faith. Okay, let's shift to 2 of the most universal spiritual terms we have, Salam and Ibadat. Most of us, myself included, assume Salam just means peace.
Right, and Dr. Sihi explained that while peace is a byproduct, the root meaning of salam is actually to complete or to fulfill. So the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, it's not just a wish for passive peace, it is a wide-ranging, powerful prayer. May Allah grant you the ability to complete the task you are sent to the world for, and thus achieve inner fulfillment.
That is such a profound reframing. It means that when the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, instructed people to greet each other frequently, he wasn't just, establishing good manners. He was implementing a subtle, constant social reminder. Every time you say salam, you're reminding yourself and the other person, hey, we owe some task. We have a purpose we have to achieve.
And that purposeful reminder connects directly to the true meaning of ibadat, of worship. Dr. Sahib stressed that ibadat fundamentally means obeying the divine commands, following the rules of the system of Rububiyat. It's not just about performing physical rituals.
This aligns perfectly with what Khawaja Shamsuddin Azeemi wrote, who Dr. Sahib quoted. He said that ibadat relates primarily to the mind and consciousness, not just the physical body.
And if ibadat is mental obedience, then the pursuit of khushu wa khuzu, that state of concentration and humility, is critical. That state is achieved by truly feeling Allah within our consciousness, which then leads to the rank of Ihsan.
The rank of Ihsan, worshipping as if you see God, or at least knowing that he sees you. And Dr. Sahib defines that as the first foundational level of spiritual development.
To illustrate this essential concept, Dr. Sahib shared that reflective story about Khawaja Shamsuddin Azeemi, who gave 2 of his murids, his disciples, a chicken. He instructed them to go and slaughter it in a place where absolutely no one was watching.
This story is such an effective test of true spiritual development. So what happened with the 2 disciples?
Well, the first murid came back within minutes. He'd found a secluded corner in the forest, task completed. Easy. The second murid didn't return until the next day. He was distressed, and he'd failed the assignment. And when the murshid asked him why, he explained that everywhere he went, the forest, a dark corner, a hidden room, he realized Allah was watching.
Wow. That second disciple, he achieved the ultimate level of Ihsan. It's such a profound realization that if you truly feel him watching, you cannot transgress the rules of the system. It doesn't matter if it's about hoarding wealth or hurting others.
And that brings us back to the ultimate purpose of our existence. Dr. Sahib summarized it as twofold. 1, self-development, mental growth, proper decision-making, and 2, learning to defeat shaitan. And shaitan is defeated, he emphasized, not through some complex ritual, but by controlling negative, destructive behaviors driven by that ananayat we talked about. Anger, laziness, and focusing only on individual gain.
This brings us, I think, to the most severe conceptual error Dr. Sahib addressed, the one that really undermines all of these efforts. It's the fatal distortion within the kalima itself. He argued that the entire spiritual system established by the Prophet, peace be upon him, is ruined by translating the word ilah as mabud.
This is a point of conceptual clarity that demands our full attention, up karahahin. Dr. Sahib showed that these 2 words, while they're often merged in translation, are fundamentally different. Their meaning and their implication are worlds apart.
So, for the listener, how do we distinguish between ilah and mabud? What's the core difference?
Okay, so ilah means the one who is needed, the one who fulfills our needs, Haji Tarawa. It signifies the ultimate object of our dependence. Mabud, on the other hand, just means the object of worship or ritual, the object we bow towards.
Okay, now why is that difference so crucial? I mean, if I worship God, I am dependent on him, so aren't they functionally the same thing?
They are not. And Dr. Sahib gave this amazing historical context. He noted that the pre-Islamic Arabs, they already knew Allah. You see it in their names, like Abdullah. They performed rituals, and they believed Allah was the supreme power. However, this is the key. They believed that various goddesses or devas were their ilahs, the gods of wealth, agriculture, fertility. Why? Because they felt functionally dependent on them for their immediate daily needs. Yeah. So they worshipped Allah as their mabud, but they depended on the devas as their ilahs.
That is the critical link. Dependence is the measure, not the ritual.
Precisely. Therefore, the kalima la ilaha illallah is a covenant. It's a vow. When we declare it, we're not just saying, I will only worship Allah. We are declaring, I am dependent on no one, no ilah, except Allah. And as a consequence of that total dependence, I will follow the thinking process, the tarz of fikr, taught by the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him.
But when translators mistakenly make ilah mean mabud, the implication is it's massive, it's destructive.
It is the downfall of the whole system. When we confine God to the meaning of mabud, a ritual object, we restrict him to places of worship, the mosque, the church, the temple. Our relationship is confined to ritual time. But our actual functional ilahs, the objects of our true constant dependence, they become worldly things. Wealth, relationships, our status, power, even other people.
We start fearing the loss of our job or our possessions far more than we fear the disapproval of God.
That's the ultimate consequence. Dr. Sahib stressed that this single distortion ruins the entire spiritual system because our functional dependence stays focused on creation, not the creator. We think we are following the prophet system, but we are structurally dependent on the very things the kalima explicitly asks us to reject dependence upon.
This entire deep dive, it all circles back to that starting point, the absolute necessity of conceptual clarity. Dr. Sahib emphasized that all of these failures, they stem from this lack of a proper conceptual framework.
Yeah. And he added a strong note here. This lack of clarity is often intentionally fostered. It's fostered by those in power who want the masses to be dependent on them, on their political and economic systems, not on God. Control is achieved through intellectual fog.
So what does this all mean for the learner who's listening and wants actionable steps? Dr. Sahib gave very clear guidance on how to fight this fog and move forward.
He did. His advice was multi-pronged. First, he said, focus intensely on self-development, mental refinement, learning to assess situations neutrally, taking proper decisions, and then executing them without giving in to ananias or laziness.
Second, ensure conceptual clarity. I just love the analogy Dr. Sahib used here. He said, put things in their proper slot and wear transparent glasses. If your conceptual glasses are tinted yellow by bias or these wrong definitions, you're going to see everything as yellow. It clouds your judgment. Neutrality and precision are the only way to see reality clearly.
And finally, Dr. Sahib provided a truly provocative, actionable thought for you, the listener, who's seeking to follow the divine system. He suggested that if you haven't already, take 1 month, just 1 month, and read the Quran, scanning one para daily.
And the goal isn't to get bogged down in deep interpretation, right? It's simply to create a concrete, unadulterated list of Allah's fundamental do's and don'ts.
That's the essence of it. Don't rely on centuries of interpretation just for this exercise. Directly identify what Allah repeatedly commanded and what He strictly forbade. And then review that list every night. Cross-check your daily actions. Did you adhere to the do's? Did you avoid the don'ts? That, Dr. Sahib concluded, is how you begin to follow the divine system, defeat shaitan, and achieve the true meaning of Salam, the completion of your purpose.
We really hope this deep dive into Dr. Sahib's discussion provided you with some profound clarity on these fundamental concepts of dependence, service, and purpose. Thank you very much to all the listeners for giving your time. This discussion will surely prove beneficial for you. Kindly forward this video to your friends who keep asking about spirituality and silsila izimia. Your forwarding will help YouTube automatically reach more people with this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and like. Lots of prayers for you too. Allah Hafiz to all.